Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So in 2023, Social Security beneficiaries received nearly a record high increase. Well, it actually was the highest in pretty much like 40 years. But next year, unfortunately, this increase is for a lot of people really not going to be much at all. And for some people, they may not receive any type of increase at all when factoring in the things that are actually being taken out of their check. So we're going to be going over that. Also, are the prospects of Joe Biden winning his re-election in 2024 lowering by the day? We're going to be going over one factor of why he may not actually win in 2024 if he ends up facing against Trump, and if this one thing ends up happening. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Okay, so for 2024, we already know that Biden is once again going to be running for the Democratic Party, and more than likely he is going to win. His only real competition at this point is Robert Kennedy Jr., but he should really have no issues taking down Kennedy and once again taking the nomination for the Democratic Party. Now, on the Republican side, it looks like once again Donald Trump is going to be the front runner. Initially, we thought that maybe someone like Ron DeSantis stood a chance of beating Trump, which he still very well may do so, but according to at least early polling, it looks like Donald Trump is going to pull away from the rest of the Republican candidates, and quite easily. And once again, we're going to have that rematch of Donald Trump and Joe Biden. And if we look at early polling for the general election, if we look at Trump versus Biden, so far, according to Real Clear Politics, and as you can see up on the screen, according to almost all these polls, we have Biden winning by a margin of anywhere between 1 and 4 points. We do have those two polls by Harvard Harris and Rasmussen Reports where Trump wins by 6 points. But right now, it looks like Biden is going to be the favorite if he once again faces off against Donald Trump. So we'll just have to see how that shakes out. However, there is one thing that could really, just throw a wrench in the 2024 presidential race if this one thing ends up happening. And that one thing could be that if Joe Manchin decides to run as a third-party, no-label candidate. So according to The Hill, Manchin stokes speculation with no labels event. So Senator Joe Manchin is causing a stir among Democrats as his extended flirtation with a third-party presidential run is set to resurface when he headlines an event for no labels, despite concerns that a possible run would boost former President Trump. Manchin will headline an event for the middle-of-the-road group, which has been pushing a potential unity ticket as a third option in the presidential race in New Hampshire on Monday. The possibility of third-party candidate drawing votes has Democrats worried, but they are especially concerned Manchin, who is up for re-election in 2024, could deliver a double blow to the party, a presidential bid that harms President Biden next year and virtually hands a key Senate seat and potentially majority in the chamber to the GOP. So they're basically saying that if Joe Manchin decides to run for president, not only could that harm them in the presidential race by stealing votes away from Joe Biden, but it could also pretty much hand the Republicans another seat in the Senate because Manchin is up for re-election in the Senate in West Virginia in 2024 as well. Now, it was very surprising, actually, that he was able to take a Senate seat in West Virginia. This is a state where Donald Trump won by, I think, like 25 or more points in the last presidential race. So this is a very red state. So for a Democrat to actually win in the state of West Virginia is very surprising. Say what you want about Joe Manchin, whether you like him, whether you hate him, for him to actually win as a Democrat in an extremely red state, that's extremely impressive. That would be like a Republican winning a Senate seat in California or New York, or a Democrat winning a Senate seat in Texas. So say what you want about him, but for him to have won in the state of West Virginia is extremely impressive. And this could also really hurt Joe Biden in a way where if he is able to steal, let's say, maybe just a handful of votes away from Joe Biden, he takes a couple percentage points away from Joe Biden. That could be just enough to put former President Donald Trump ahead of Joe Biden in the polling and for him to actually take the ticket. And right now, Joe Manchin is actually not ruling out a third-party run for president. So this is actually something that could very well end up happening. because he was asked about the possibility during an interview with Fox News Sunday. He said, "I'm not ruling anything in, not ruling anything out." And Manchin said the country better have a plan B in the event that the Republicans and Democratic parties nominate far right and far left candidates. A centrist choice is needed, he said. Now, we can look at some polling here and what could possibly end up happening. So in a 2024 Biden-Trump race, Biden wins 52 to 48%. In 2020, they mentioned that he won 51 to 47%. But in a Biden-Trump no-labels race, where Manchin is the no-labels candidate, Trump wins 40% to 39% to 21% for the no-labels ticket. No-labels draws 13 points from Biden and 8 points from Trump. So basically, in the event that Manchin were to run, Manchin would still votes from both Biden and Trump, but he would be stealing more votes from Biden, where Trump could actually leapfrog Biden and actually taking the 2024 victory and being the next president of the United States. It also says that in these 7 swing states, a no-labels ticket swings the vote from Biden to Trump by an average of 4.3 percentage points per state, which is greater than the average margin of victory in those states in 2020. So once again, if Manchin were to run, it's very possible that Trump actually beats Biden, whereas if Manchin doesn't run and we don't have that third-party candidate where they would be stealing a lot of votes away from Biden, then it looks like Biden may actually end up beating Trump. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. Would you support Manchin running? If he were to run, would you vote for him instead of Biden? If it ends up being Biden versus Trump, who would you favor? And really, just all in all, who would you favor other than Biden and Trump? Who do you think should be the next president of the United States? Let me know what your thoughts and comments are in the comment section below. But in some other news, as far as Social Security goes, as I mentioned earlier on in today's video, in 2023, we nearly saw a record high increase as far as the cost of living adjustment goes. In fact, it actually was the highest in 40 years. However, because inflation is coming down a good bit this year, it's still going up at a higher than what we would like to see pace. Right now, it is expected that the next increase for 2024 is going to be right around 3%. That is, of course, the last projection from the Senior Citizens League. So obviously it's going to be going down, and for some people it may actually be almost nothing at all. I'm going to be explaining why in just a moment. So according to the Motley Fool, a lower Social Security COLA in 2024 is pretty much inevitable. So they say that next year's COLA may not be all that impressive. So at the start of 2023, seniors on Social Security saw their benefits rise by 8.7%. That COLA was the largest one to come through in decades, but 2024's COLA is shaping up to be a lot smaller based on recent inflation levels. Social Security COLAs are based on the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, a subset of the more widely tracked Consumer Price Index. In June, the CPIW rose by 2.3% on an annual basis, and in light of that, the nonpartisan Senior Citizens League is now projecting that 2024's COLA will come in at 3%. So basically, if it does come in at 3%, what that would mean for you is if you currently receive a $500 benefit, that would be a $15 per month increase approximately. Of course, there would be things that would be deducted from your check. A $1,000 benefit would be an increase of $30 up to $1,030. A $1,500 benefit would be increased up by $45, and a $2,000 average benefit this year would be increased up by $60. But of course, there are other things that are going to be taken out of your check that we must keep in mind. So the Motley Fool goes on to say that in fact, it's a really good idea to try to stash some additional cash in savings in the coming months for one big reason. This year, seniors got a huge break when the cost of Medicare Part B premiums didn't rise like it usually does, but rather it went down, but we can anticipate the same thing happening in 2024. If the cost of Medicare Part B increases, it will only eat away at the limited COLA seniors on Social Security receive. So it's especially crucial to build up some cash reserves to account for that possibility. So like they mentioned, this year in 2023, unexpectedly, Medicare Part B premiums actually decreased for the first time in I think like 12 years, but this year that is definitely not going to happen. And earlier reports came out earlier on this year that showed that it was going to be going up by right around $10. So a $10 increase in the Medicare Part B premiums, which will take $10 out of your Social Security check. But that was before a new Alzheimer's was actually approved by the FDA. And that is going to cost approximately around $5 in addition to the $10. So it looks like the Medicare Part B premium might actually end up being $15 more in 2024. So if that ends up being the case, someone who is receiving a benefit of $500 for their Social Security check this year, with a $15 increase for the 2024 COLA, they're also going to have the $15 increase in the Medicare Part B premium. So for them, it's going to be no increase at all. And someone who is receiving a $1,000 benefit with a 3% cost of living adjustment, that would be a $30 increase per month. But with the $15 increase in the Medicare Part B premium, they're actually going to have their check slashed in half. So the increase is actually going to be only $15 instead of $30. So as you can see there, even though there is going to be 3% COLA, again, that's going to be greatly reduced from the 8.7% cost of living adjustment that we saw this year, but then they're also going to have it reduced even more from the increased Medicare Part B premium. So that's definitely pretty unfortunate, but something we will definitely have to keep in mind. But that's all the news that I have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.